on this computer. So good morning, everybody. This is February 16th, 2024, and I am here with the lovely Tammy Skomorowski from True Self Counseling and Spiritual Guided Meditation. So Tammy, welcome and thank you. You're my second guest ever doing this interview slash podcast slash whatever you want to call it, kitchen table chat.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm honored to be in your top three, your top two.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so for people that don't know who you are, because I love you to pieces, we've been office mates for
Mm.
years until I close the office this month. Can you please tell us who Tammy Skomorowski is, what your business is, and what you do?
So, a tiny little bit of a backstory is from the age of 15 until I was 47, I always worked for somebody else. And then in 2015, I was laid off, and I
Mhm.
thought I was going to be at that job forever. And so I did get a part-time gig working at the cancer agency, and they had a couple of full-time positions available, and I just said, no, no more. I ain't doing it. And
Mhm.
then that's when I started my own private practice. Um, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tammy Skomorowski, and I am the owner of True Self, and I started my counseling bit of True Self in January 17th, 2017. And I also offer spiritual life coaching, and I started that in 2015, like out of my out of the other messy office, not this room. And then I also offer meditation class. So I like to tell people that I'm a registered therapist and an ancient wisdom spiritual life coach, where I offer the counseling, spiritual life coaching, and meditation. And I have a new program called Raw, and that's Reawaken Ancient Wisdom. And it's a healing journey, and it is for spiritually inspired women. Men are welcome. I find mostly women come out. So, spiritually inspired people who want to build more intimacy into your relationships, to build deeper connection. And that means boundaries, communicating with confidence, and just loving and nurturing yourself.
Mhm.
So that's my long introduction, how I went from working for other people to private practice.
I know it's always an interesting journey for everybody. So why did you actually end up leaving your or starting your own business? Like we know the
Mm.
basic history, but so what prompted you to say, okay, now I have to do this on my own?
Well, working in organizations, and I always worked, this is the honest story, folks. Here's the truth is working in large organizations, I found that a lot of times I would work for people who didn't have the same, like, who are not counselors. I
Mhm.
was working as a counselor, and I would work for managers who were not counselors. And, you can get amazing managers and maybe even leaders. But then when I'm being told, I need to do limited sessions, and I'm
Mhm.
told you can no longer see people 10 times in 4 months, and I'm told you must only see them 6 times. And I'm like, how would you like me to do that? Like,
Yeah.
please tell me how to do that, because this person, like, some people only need a few, but many people would like, to come in every 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm like, how do I do that? But
Mhm.
the answer was always, I'm just giving you the direction. You're the professional, you figure it out. And I'm kind of done with that. So,
Yeah.
and going through a layoff, it's it's soul crushing on so
Mhm.
many levels.
Right.
I went through that period saying, "Hey, like, why don't we have brochures? And hey, why aren't you paying for my registration? And hey, why don't I get to like sit with the executive anymore? And I was told, stop making a big deal. You're
Hmm.
being sensitive. It's
Yeah.
all in your head. Don't ask questions, just follow the orders. And I really came out of that like doubting myself, second guessing myself, wondering if I was making things up, if I was being overly sensitive.
Yeah.
And then, like 8 months later, or 6 months later, when they said, hey, we're laying you off, I was like, oh, I wasn't going crazy. Like,
Hmm.
I was picking up on things, and I could, like, I knew there was stuff that just didn't sit right.
Yeah.
But just like in, any relationship, if you're told, don't be stupid, don't be ridiculous, it's all in your head, you're overly
Hmm.
sensitive, you're making things up, like
Yeah.
shutting it down, then I find, you know, myself included, we end up doubting ourselves. And I had so much anxiety and kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
Hmm.
And I just thought, I'm just kind of done. Like,
Yeah.
and I was always inspired. I always wanted to have my own gig, anyways. I
Hmm.
always wanted to do coaching of some sort. And I stumbled on the spiritual life coaching. It was just kind of synchronicity. I stumbled on the spiritual life coaching and I thought, this is my, like, this feels good.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
That's
feels
awesome.
like that layoff process felt so horrible.
Yeah.
But the life coaching was just so like, so it was really a blessing in disguise.
Hmm. Hmm. And isn't
Life
that
was
always the
happening.
way? Isn't that always the way though, right? Like whether no matter what it is, the diversity that hits us and the challenge that hits us is usually the impetus to get us to move forward into the things that really resonate and what we really want to do, right? Yeah.
Because it's easy to stay stuck.
Mm.
It's easy to stay in that safe place. It was like, it was comfortable,
Yeah.
it was predictable and it was easy, but
Hmm.
then comfortable, predictable, and easy, there's zero growth.
Yeah.
And so I had zero excuses. I used to say, I don't have the time, the energy, the money. Well, guess what? You don't have a job anymore, Tammy. So you got like all the time in the world. Like, don't get me wrong. I needed to get myself back on track and a
Yeah.
routine and healthy to get the energy. And it was a tiny little, like, severance and like a goodbye. so, so I wasn't rolling in the dough, but I had a few dollars to invest in business courses and learning
Hmm.
how to start my own. So I had zero excuses.
Hmm. Hmm. And here we are.
Here we are, Lori. I met you, and
I know, and you're just an amazing positive influence for so many people, and an amazing counselor as well. So I'm very grateful and happy that you're in my circle, that you've been in my circle for all these years.
thank
So
you.
besides being such a fabulous counselor and a wonderful person, what does Tammy like to do?
Well, my husband always says, I need to like take something off my list. He's like, you're doing the counseling, 3 days a week, 3.5 days a week. I'm doing the spiritual life coaching, like I'm running my groups an
Mhm.
evening a week. He's like, you're doing your meditation classes in the mornings on, Saturdays. Now I'm gonna offer it on Tuesday evenings. And he's like, you need to take something off your plate. And I said, like, sure, I could, like, once again, like to my manager, which would you like me to take off my plate? But the point is like, I could totally take something off my plate, but I just said, you and I both know
Yeah.
I'm just going to fill it with something else. Like,
Hmm.
why not do the things I love? Like,
Yeah.
I do love it. Like, I walk away and I feel like I feel good. Like
Hmm.
after having that connection.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what was the reason that you went? Because you used to do 5 days a week plus plus plus. So what was the impetus to slow down to doing 3 days plus a couple?
Yeah. Well, I think when I first started, I was doing 5.5 days a week.
Hmm.
And then I just realized, sometimes there's like, I want to give, I want to give, I want to help. And then there is a point of too much.
Hmm. Hmm.
There is a point of too much. And sure, maybe my clients love it and they appreciate to come in on those Saturdays or the Monday mornings. But then I was tired.
Hmm.
And what good am I to my clients if I'm just sitting there, zoned out? Like I just,
Yeah.
then I'm not walking away feeling expansive and feeling good. So that's part of it.
Hmm.
But the other piece is I am slowly morphing and growing into the online spiritual life coaching.
Hmm.
And I want to serve more people in groups. Like one-on-one is beautiful and I love the connection. And then
Hmm.
I do feel like people get more in a group because now, I'm not the only person in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I only have, like, don't get me wrong, 30 years experience,
Hmm.
5 degrees. Like I like to think I have some knowledge. And then I am one person.
Yeah.
But it's the beauty of the group because then
Hmm.
we have like all the different experiences, all the different perspectives. And the other thing about group is, and like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people, they resist. They're like, I don't want a group. I just
Hmm.
want one-on-one. And I'm like, you will get so much more out of group
Yeah.
because what happens is when you're in a group and you're talking about, I feel like I'm not enough, or I'm having a hard time with boundaries, or I'm having a hard time, standing up to my partner or my family member. And
Hmm.
then when you hear it from other people,
Yeah.
it's very validating to know I'm not the only one. I'm
Hmm.
not alone. And that's the beauty of group, which is why I'm less days of counseling
Uh-huh.
and more of the spiritual life coaching, and now my ancient secrets meditation class, which is coming up on Tuesdays.
Hmm. Hmm. That's wonderful. And yeah, I mean, I resist doing the group thing too, because I actually personally hate being online. And this is a huge stretch for me doing these kinds of things, like, the interviews and all that kind of stuff. However, I
Good for
also know
you,
that
good for us.
the power of the synergy of doing things online and the group, right? So
Mm,
I've, over the last couple of months, started to transition where I'm doing just my hypnotherapy stuff online with clients. And I'm
mhm.
finding that they're actually getting better results when they're in their own home,
Yeah.
right? Because it's their comfort rather than coming to the office and what is she going to do to me?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I too am working on a couple of programs to go to morph onto online as group stuff as well. And being part of a couple of different groups over the last few months has been, yeah, it's like, wow, the energy there and the synergy and the fact that, yeah, we're there for different reasons, but we all have the underlying same issue, right? Not
Mhm.
good enough, not, what do I do? Imposter syndrome, all that kind of stuff. So more power to you. And I know from being and sharing office space with you and knowing you for so long that it does really light you up. So that's exciting to
Ah,
watch, to see. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more, or share a little bit more if you feel like it, about what your online programs are.
okay, so I do have my ancient secrets meditation, which is coming up.
Hmm.
I got to get my buns in gear and get my tech together. Coming up on March. So the
Hmm.
first Tuesday in March,
Right.
it's going to be a hybrid. So I'm trying something new, folks. Like this is
Ooh.
this is how business works. It's like everything is an experiment. So how can I ask you or my clients to like go out on a limb and try something different if I'm not willing to? So this
Yeah.
is my experiment, is I am going to do a hybrid of in person,
Hmm.
but I can only take like 10 people in person. So it's like the first 10 who show.
Hmm.
I might have to do a sign up. Oh, see. thinking of all these details. But it's on Tuesday evenings from
Hmm.
5 until 6:20.
Right.
10 people in person, and then all the rest will be live streamed.
Cool.
Meaning we're going to do Zoom like this
Hmm.
through a Facebook group. So when you sign up, it's a monthly membership.
Hmm.
And so when you come in, not only do you get those weekly meditations,
Hmm.
I'm going to support you to quiet down the mind, tap into deeper self-compassion so that you can connect better with other people, but to be in that universal energy, to be
Hmm.
the the space of the divine consciousness or the quantum field or God force energy, or that
Hmm.
in that space with creator, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
So that's what you get when you come out to the weekly sessions,
Hmm.
but also you will be in the private Facebook group. So that way, if you miss a class,
Hmm.
the replay will be there for you.
Yeah.
And also, that way, you don't just need to show up on Tuesdays. Now you
Hmm.
can listen to it
Yeah.
and you could fast forward whatever parts and go straight into the guided meditation or the sounding meditation. You could go straight to those points and you could use it like 5, 7 days a week if you want.
Nice. That's awesome.
So, so you get the recording and that's there for you.
Yeah.
And that is a $97 investment for the whole month. So that means some months, there might only be 4 Tuesdays, but some months there's going to be 5 Tuesdays.
Hmm.
And it'll be there for you. You're in the group for accountability, to stay on track, for support, and to discuss the lessons, because we
Hmm.
will be talking about Pragyanam Brahma, like consciousness creates. We will be talking about Tattvamasi, that as above, so below, that thou art, I see me in you, I see you in me. We're going to
Hmm.
talk about Aham Atma Brahma, like you are the creator of your life, like
Hmm.
you are the individual nature of the collective,
Right.
this like universal knowledge. And then the final one is Aham Brahm Asmi, meaning I am creator.
Hmm.
So the group is there so you could like discuss the
Yeah.
concepts, to have like not debate, but to discuss the finer nuances of it.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah. That
so
sounds amazing. That
that's
sounds
my
wonderful.
Tuesday.
Wow. Yeah.
That's my Tuesday.
Uh-huh. And so what's the other one? The raw. That sounded actually pretty cool when you mentioned
Mhm.
it the other day in a different meeting that we were doing.
Yeah, yeah. So the raw is reawaken ancient wisdom. And
Hmm.
it's a healing journey. And it's knowing that everything you need is already in there.
Hmm.
So what we do in there is 4 pillars is I support you in a group format again.
Hmm.
And in the group, so let me just go back for a second. You get an online portal. You're going to get 14 weeks all online. You're going to get videos, audios, worksheets. I'm going to send you an actual book through the
Hmm.
mail because I've had people in Ontario, people in Alberta, people in Kamloops, Kelowna. I'm in Prince George.
Hmm.
A book in the mail, and then what you do is you read chapter 1, you watch module 1, and you learn the lessons about how to discover your unconscious beliefs. So we
Hmm.
bring them up to the surface. Then in the group setting, and it's small, I only take 5 people at a time because I
Hmm.
want you to have personal support.
Right.
In the group setting, you take the learning and you put it into action.
Hmm.
This is not just theory, this is not just philosophy. Like you're going to take action.
Right.
And then you get your one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
So we will meet, just you and then we go deep and we peel the onion to get to the core belief.
Nice.
And in that session, that's where we discover the unconscious belief so you can erase it, replace it.
Mm-hmm.
In another session, like throughout the whole program, but then in
Right.
a one-on-one, I support you to know how to navigate the emotions because
Mm-hmm.
you cannot heal what you're unwilling to feel.
Right. Right. That's so important.
So
So
it's
important.
and a lot of people think they're feeling their feelings because they'll come in and they'll say, "Oh, I feel anxious. I feel depression." Those are not feelings. Those are thought emotions. It's about being in the actual feeling. It's about being in the fear, the
Mm-hmm.
sadness. It's about being in the emotion of shame or embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about being in the feelings. So that's what we do is the second pillar. The third
Mm-hmm.
pillar is quieting down the ego mind.
Yeah.
And so meditation is huge, which it goes great with the Tuesday class. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
in the raw program, you get the Tuesday class for free,
Yeah.
part of the raw program.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final pillar in the raw program is how to nurture your inner child because you cannot grow when the inner child's running the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, in another one on one session, I give you a self parenting strategy, how to identify that little you inside of there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
4-year-old you, 10-year-old you, who's feeling scared, who's feeling unworthy, who's feeling unloved, and then how to nurture that part of you. Because when you know how to do that, then the triggers become less.
Mm-hmm.
Those unconscious beliefs, you can catch them faster. And now
Yeah.
you have a framework for how to work through it,
Mm-hmm.
like for yourself,
Yeah.
to be your own perfect parent,
Yeah.
giving yourself what maybe your parent didn't give to you.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I'm a mom, I'm doing the best I can, but I know it's not perfect. And
Mm-hmm.
my son tells me so.
And don't we all tell our parents the same thing, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe not so much now that we're, past 30, but
Mhm,
definitely when you're under 30, you know it all. And yeah, you're always telling your
mhm,
parents what they
mhm,
didn't know. So that's wonderful, Tammy. It sounds like I
mhm.
hope it goes really well for you because it sounds really impressive.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited. I'm super excited about that one.
Yeah.
And something that I'm working on,
Hmm.
kind of on the
Something else.
like a bigger dream of where I'm going to take the raw program. So right now the raw program is there for women who are spiritually oriented, women who are spiritually inspired. It is spiritual life coaching,
Hmm.
who want, to have better connection with their partner, more intimacy, communicate better, better boundaries, better self-care, better self-talk. And
Hmm.
so where I'm going with this is I don't okay, I have a date in mind. I won't put it out there right now. But where I'm going with this is I am building it out
Hmm.
for caregivers, healers, and helping professionals.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Because you cannot take your client further than you've gone yourself.
No,
We need,
absolutely.
we need to know our own, like, what are my triggers? Because I
Hmm.
need to recognize if I'm triggered in session, or when I'm like giving too much to a client, or when I'm bringing their problems home with me. So
Hmm.
as a therapist, as a caregiver and a professional, like a helping professional, we
Hmm.
need to do our own work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so when we do our own work, then I'm just, how do I say this? It's like the more that I do my own work, then the better I can regulate myself.
Hmm.
And the better that I regulate myself, then I can hold more space for my client,
Yeah.
because then I don't take it personal.
Yeah.
I can
Right.
sit with the discomfort. I could sit with the anger. I could sit with the pain easier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give these strategies and techniques to other healers, caregivers, helping professionals,
Hmm.
so that you can take your clients deeper,
Right. Right.
further, and to do that in like 14 sessions instead of like 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it starts with our own work.
Oh yeah. And don't you find, I find it very interesting. Certainly, I've had other professionals come to me for sessions as well, like same as you do. And it always amazes me at how many of them think that they've actually done their work and they haven't even begun.
Well, because it's an unconscious belief.
Yeah.
I signed up for my spiritual life coach training
Hmm.
and I thought, I know what my problems are. I know what my triggers are. I know some of these unconscious beliefs. But the thing, and that's true, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I've been for counseling and I've done my own work and been to many retreats and meditation retreats, and
Hmm.
but it's the beliefs we don't even know about.
Yeah.
That's the blind spot.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
it's not the
Exactly.
ones you know about. You know about them, although some people know about them, but then they don't know what to do with
Yeah.
it. But it's the ones you don't even know about.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like if you don't know it, you don't know it. So
Yeah.
then it's going to take over and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
You don't know what you don't know.
totally, totally.
Yeah, yeah, no, and yeah, definitely it's all the subconscious stuff. And but I find it also very fascinating that there are a lot of helping professionals, if you will, helping professionals that they just they skim the surface of it. They might do a weekend of training and
Hmm.
then yeah, I got it. And they don't go any deeper and they don't do their own. I mean, I know for me, I've done many, many different things over the years, and I have many tools in my toolbox. Do I do them all? No. And I should, right? Practice what you preach. That's what my dad used to
There
say
you
all the time.
go,
Practice
right?
what you preach. But I also recognized as a practitioner that even with the tools I have, I can only do so much work on myself. And
Well,
I
yeah,
need other things or other therapies or other people to help me work through the other stuff, right? Because I don't know what I don't know.
totally, because we have our own blind spots. And
Hmm.
I've even said to my clients in the seat and to my husband, I've said, sometimes when people walk in the room, I can kind of peg certain things because it's
Yeah.
been like 33 years of working in the field. Like I can
Hmm.
kind of peg certain things,
Yeah.
but then I'm like, what what do they see in me?
Hmm.
It's like, what is my blind spot? Like when I'm the one walking into the room,
Yeah.
what does, the layperson, what do they see in me that maybe I don't see in me? And those, seasoned professionals,
Hmm.
what are my blind spots that I don't even
Yeah.
recognize? Because it's so easy to see it in somebody else.
Hmm.
Because now we're outside of it, right? Like
Yeah.
we're in the observer perspective. We're not in the storm. We're
Hmm.
not, but when I'm caught up in it, it's like, oh, the person out there, I wonder
Yeah. Do they
what
see
they're
my
thinking.
crazy?
Oh, they see it. They see it. But it's like, it's like, it's not just can they see my crazy? It's like what I want to offer is to support somebody to understand what's
Mhm.
underneath it. Like,
Yeah.
where is it coming from? What is the softer, more vulnerable emotion underneath the anger or the upset or the chaos or the, feeling overwhelmed? It's
Hmm.
like, can we go even deeper, like as the therapist,
Hmm.
as the spiritual life coach, to be so grounded and regulated and doing my own meditation every day
Hmm.
that I could support that person to look not just at what's going on the surface, but what's the softer emotion, and then what is that deeper unconscious belief, unconscious, that
Mm-hmm.
you don't even see it. It's
Yeah.
unconscious. That's why we need somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's I have a modality.
Mm-hmm.
I have the therapy background. I have the spiritual life coaching. I have the meditation, Vipassana, and the Mahavakian meditation background. But then I don't have all the other modalities. So
Mm-hmm.
there
Mm-hmm.
is beauty and benefit to accessing different parts of myself through the different modalities.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're all like onions. So many layers.
Totally, totally. And I think not getting so caught up in like, you know, my way is the only way,
Yeah.
or my way is the only best way.
Mm-hmm.
I like to feel like my approach does touch on a few of those different dimensions,
Yeah.
but I know there are other modalities out there, and
Yeah.
so being open, like being
Mm-hmm.
open to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, very,
Yeah.
very interesting stuff. I'm so excited for you because, yeah, it'll be great to see how it all unfolds for you. So, aside from all the business stuff, what does Tammy like to do? What are Tammy's hobbies besides learning and piling more on the list?
Yeah.
What does Tammy like to do?
Well, I am trying to get out to the lake this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my little piece of paradise.
Yeah.
And oftentimes at this time of the year, there's nobody out there. And I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's so quiet. And so I am a bit of a sun worshiper,
Yeah.
um, like on many levels. So I do love to like sit in the sun. I love to be outside all the time. And then that also ties into like I have a background in cultural anthropology. I have a
Mm-hmm.
degree in cultural anthropology, and so I'm very interested in like ancient civilizations,
Right.
learning about ancient Egyptians, the Mayans. Like I'm fascinated with Göbekli Tepe that they just unearthed in Turkey. Um, and I'm really fascinated in origin stories. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I say I'm a sun worshiper, it's it's see if I can explain this. It's like in ancient Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
Ra, like R-A,
R.A. Yeah.
R-A or R-A-H, which my program is called Raw, R-A-W.
Uh,
Like there, like nothing is by act, like it's all very intentional what I'm
Mhm.
creating here.
Yeah.
But in ancient Egypt, they would pray to Ra, and Ra was the sun god, and it's
Mhm.
depicted on a lot of their like headdress
Yeah.
as a disc, and that's the sun, because the sun brings hope,
Mhm.
brings life, it brings light, it grows
Mhm.
our food, it makes us healthy, it makes you happy and uplifted. So I'm a sun worshiper on many levels.
Yeah.
So I like to go out to the lake, and I sometimes even lie, like if it's not summertime, on a floaty on the water.
Mhm.
I like to lie on the frozen lake. I get all bundled up, lie on the frozen lake and
Yeah.
soak in the sun.
That's it. Yeah. Well, yeah, and weekends and weather like we've been having, as bizarre and mild as our winter has been.
Oh
Thank
yeah.
God for the sunshine, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Because
And I
it's
like
so
to,
everything's so much better with the sun.
oh yeah, see, it brings light, it brings hope,
Hmm.
and a new day always brings just a new perspective, a new beginning.
Yeah.
Um, like it's an opportunity to start anew. You don't need to wait for January 1st, like
Hmm.
today, or even you don't even need to wait for tomorrow. It's like this moment is an opportunity.
Yeah.
But I do like to spend my time out there with the family,
Hmm.
with my two Dans, my husband Dan, my son Daniel, Daniel's girlfriend Raylene. We do a lot of board games and just family time and my two dogs
Hmm.
are a little rambunctious. They're kind of quiet right now, which is good.
I'm locked away upstairs, so mine can't disturb us. Because yesterday, well, and any of the meetings and stuff that I do in the afternoons, if I do it downstairs because the reception on my laptop is better. And inevitably, it can be dead ass quiet around here. And the second I get online, brrr, they're carrying on. It's like, yo, shut
The
up.
dogs, I
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
and there's times even here because I always have the window open up in upstairs and my chickens. So I did a
Oh,
session. I did a session 2 weeks ago, and the chickens were carrying on. And so the very next session that I did with a person, I desensitize them, because you're putting people into trance. So I want them to be really relaxed and enjoy the peace and quiet. Lock the cat out of the room because suddenly the cat decides it's got to do, cat laps around the office. No.
mm.
So I desensitized to all of this other stuff. And then halfway through the session, we have a random squirrel that comes and sits on the roof and
What?
chittered for 5 full minutes during the session. And I'm like, oh, mother of God.
Well, I have to be honest with you. When I'm in the other, in my office. So this is my meditation room, and this is my like mat
Mm-hmm.
where I like to sit in the morning, do my meditation, and then I like to place an intention. That's what that pink sheet is right there. I
Okay.
like to place an intention so that I have like a focus. But when I'm in the other room on my computer, like doing the work,
Yeah.
like doing the other work, like
Doing
the
the manual
other
work.
work, like work, but doing the other physical actions
Mm-hmm.
to put my intentions into actions. We do have a couple squirrels in our neighborhood, and they just bring so much joy. Like, I love to see that squirrel. It like hangs out on my neighbor's house. It's their house is stuccoed, so it just like, and I told the neighbor, I'm like, that squirrel is so cute. And she's like, not when it's in your walls.
Yeah, true, true.
But on the like looking through the window,
Hmm.
it just brings me joy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It makes me laugh because it tortures the cat. Gets up there
Oh,
and just
yeah.
teases and teases and teases and then runs like hell across the roof because I live in a log house. So then they get up on the logs and then they get up on the trees across.
Mhm,
The cat can't follow. Or it'll
mhm,
get down in the rafters in the carport and torment the dogs, which just like, you're so
mhm,
cheeky. One day
mhm.
it's not going to be good. But yeah, so just the squirrels, I mean, I live on a farm. So I always tell people that it's like, okay, we live on a farm. I can't tell you what noises you're going to hear. Sometimes you're going to hear the mules and it's going to sound like something's dying.
Oh, you have a mule now?
Well, the landowner does. Yeah, he's got a couple of mules,
Oh,
a couple of donkeys, and so when they
cool.
go off, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and
Hey, you could start a petting zoo.
I
You
could.
totally could. Like,
Well,
hey, we
when
could
people
bring
come
the
to
whole
yeah,
family.
yeah, when people come to the farm for the equine therapy pieces, Tammy, it's not just the horses, it's the location because
Mm,
it's so beautiful and peaceful. We don't have a lake, but we have a creek. The lake's way off
mhm,
in the corner.
mhm,
And then we have the chickens and we have the dogs, which, the idiot dogs run at the vehicles and bark like crazy and scare people because they're so big
mhm.
and noisy, but they're harmless. And then we have the horses. And so our landowner has, I think, something like 20 horses, 21 horses, and seven of them
What?
are, or sorry, five of them are babies. He sold two of them, and 5 or 6 of the mares are pregnant. So there's going to be a whole bunch more babies coming in the
Wow.
spring. So we have lots of babies running around. We have the mules, we have the donkeys, we have the horses, and then we have my
Mhm.
horses, which are all old farts. They're off in a different pasture. But it's always something. There's always chaos. There's always noise. In the spring, we have the
Can
geese coming in, and
can I can I pick on your words for a second?
oh yeah,
Because
I know, I know, I know.
the counselor and me, like that meditation class is all about the power of the word.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
chaos, like I get it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like chaos. I'm gonna reword that as adventure and excitement. You've got like an exciting home, right? You've got a lot of exciting things, lots of good, like lots of energy and
Yeah, yeah. And I
sorry
know
I'm picking on your words.
I'm working on the word thing, but when I say chaos, I don't mean it in a bad way because
Yeah,
it's joyful
yeah,
chaos. It is. It's life. It's joyful
yeah.
chaos. And that's just, it
Exciting.
goes on around me, right? It's not me. So if it was me, then it'd be totally negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is
Yeah.
not. It's all joyful silliness. And yeah, inevitably when you're on a call or you're dealing with clients, it's just one of those
You
things that's
always
like, oh, always, right?
hear the
Always.
noises, hear the sounds. Yeah. Yeah. I just had to throw that in there
Oh
because
yeah.
the like in the ancient secrets meditation class, we really focus on like your intention,
Hmm. Hmm.
that you are a powerful creator. Some people use the word manifesting, and that's totally fine. Sure. Like manifesting, creating, it's all the same thing.
Hmm.
I kind of steer away from talking too much about like manifesting and law of attraction because I feel like in some ways it is becoming a new religion
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
people come to me and they say, I'm doing the affirmations and I'm writing out the gratitudes and I'm doing all these things, but I'm not getting anywhere. And it's
Hmm.
like, well, it's kind of like, when you just wrote pray and you don't stop to actually like
And
internalize
feel it. Yeah.
the message. And so that's where like the raw program comes in. It's like, are you aware of the beliefs that are getting in the way
Yeah.
when you are doing your affirmations or when you
Hmm.
are setting your intention or when you are praying? It's because like those things are great, but if there's a negative belief in there that's like repelling it or blocking it out,
Hmm.
then all that beautiful stuff is not going to soak in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the energy behind the belief too, right? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And I have clients that do that too. It's like, oh, well, law of attraction doesn't work because I write it. I'm like, yeah, you're writing it down,
Mm.
but you're not doing the work that you need to do to
Feeling.
feel
Yeah.
the actual, like, what is that going to feel like? You're
Yeah.
writing it down. I want to be happy, but in the back of your mind, it's the beliefs, right? But it's also the energy attached to that belief
Yeah. And
of,
and I'm even going to go one step further if I can
mhm,
interrupt you for one
yeah.
sec. Is it's not even a belief,
Hmm.
because if you think it's a belief, like then like you could choose one belief over another. You could choose
Hmm.
the affirmative belief or the poopy belief, like the I'm
Hmm.
not good enough or I can't have it or I'm not deserving. But I'm going to go one step further, and when you have a true knowing,
Hmm.
not even a belief anymore. It's like a knowing. Like I have a knowing, and I know that my raw program that I'm offering to, to spiritually inspired women, I know for a fact that I am going to offer that. Like I am offering it, not even going to, because that implies
Hmm.
it's in the future.
Yeah.
I am offering that
Yeah.
to caregivers, healers, and helping professionals because it's that important. And so it's not a belief. It's
Hmm.
like I'm doing it. Like I'm just darn well doing it. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing it. Like it's happening. It's,
Yeah.
it's coming out in pieces and
Yeah.
it's, there's a process and I do need to take action. But when you truly know, then everything is in alignment. And I
Hmm.
use the word grok. And to grok something means you know it,
Hmm.
you can feel into it, like you know what it feels like when you're at that end goal, like your future self, you could
Hmm.
feel it. And then you carry it like in your gut, like you're living from that space.
Hmm.
Because when you know it, you feel it, and you live from that space, that is to truly grok something that's like every fiber of your being is in there and
Hmm.
it's happening.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have a belief that I'm going to run it. I have like a full body experience knowing it's happening, and
Hmm.
yeah, I'm working on the pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in process.
Yeah. That's all. That is so wonderful. So wonderful. And yeah. So anything else you want to share, Tammy? Anything at
Yeah,
all?
I don't know what do people want to know? I don't know. What do you want to know? Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about like right now I've got that meditation coming up in
Mm-hmm.
March, and I'm really excited about it. And it is, we do start off with like getting quiet, like grounding, quiet. You're gonna like empty the cup,
Mm-hmm.
empty the mind. And I know lots of people say, I had one woman say, I can't quiet my mind. I can't sit still. I've got too much historical trauma. I just, can't shut it down. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, just come out, come to the first three. And if you don't like it, no problem,
Yeah. Yeah.
no problem. Um, and she messaged me, like she came out not this fall, but
Mm-hmm.
the fall prior.
Right.
So like fall 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And she messaged me this week and said she has now gone through her second winter without depression
Wow.
because we do get quiet. And I know that's the hardest part for most people, and that's okay. We don't sit in
Mm-hmm.
there long. But then when we use the sounding, like this is coming back to the power of your words, like the
Mm-hmm.
power of, because your words, each word holds a vibrational frequency. So when you use sounding, you are rejigging and tuning your nervous system. Like there's nerves that go from your brain to every part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing with sounding is we are like getting good flexibility in the nervous system. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not so tight,
Right.
but not so like flaccid that like you just can't get your poop in a pile and get stuff done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's where the sounding comes in, where we do the Pragyanam Brahma. It goes like this. I know we got to wrap up. I'm just going to give you a little taste. So with Pragyanam Brahma, that means Pragyanam is consciousness and Brahma is creator. And so it's consciousness is the creator. Where I hold my intention is what I create. So with the sounding, we'll do something like Pragyanam Brahma. Consciousness creates.
Mm-hmm.
Pragyanam Brahma. So that you can feel it in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And the words are very intentional. They come from the Vedas, and they're very intentional because they do create a very specific vibrational frequency. And it's beautiful to do it on your own, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's so powerful in the group
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
we all blend together. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about that. And if anybody's interested, you
Mm-hmm.
could get on my email list because, okay, Lori, I even have another meditation coming up in April. It's just a 1-day event.
Mm-hmm.
I'm partnering with somebody in town.
Mm-hmm.
We met yesterday and we're going to combine what I just shared.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a little snippet in the morning. And then there's going to be a lunch, vegan and gluten free, so we can like meet everybody's needs. And then in the afternoon, we're going to go into breath work and Kundalini. And then we're
Ooh.
going to wrap up with writing and affirmations. So
Mm-hmm.
that is coming in April. Um, I don't know if my partner is okay for me to share all the details yet because we're just, we just met yesterday
Yeah.
and pulled together our agenda. But if anybody's interested in any of it, raw, Ancient Secrets on Tuesdays, the event coming up, 1-day event coming up in April, you
Mm-hmm.
can get into my email list, and I could always send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to my website, and my website is True Self, TRUES 3LF.ca. So the
Mm-hmm.
E in self is actually a 3, so S3LF.ca. And you can sign up for my email list in there. But I can also give you the link and we could post it like around
Mm-hmm.
this video because I got a lot of things coming up and
You
I'm super
do. That's awesome.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up for the day. And thank you, Tammy, because yeah, like there's so much. You're such a font of information, and yeah, so thank you very much. And
Mm,
I'll do my best to get all the links put together again. This is only the second time
thank
I've done
you.
this, so we'll see
I
how
know,
it all
I'm
rolls.
excited. I'm excited for you. It's inspirational. I makes me want to do the same. And, I'm
Yeah,
thank you for having me here. And
yeah, no,
yeah.
it's all about sharing and collaboration, right? And yeah, because I've mentioned before, and I talk about it all the time. I hate being the talking head on the
I
thing, right?
know.
So to do this, sit back and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a glass of water or a wine, depending on where in the world
Mhm.
you are, right? Like this is so much more fun and so much more educational than just being the talking head and working from a script, really, right?
I hear you. I hear you. I am going to record a podcast episode today.
Hmm.
It's not out yet. I've got a few in the bank,
Hmm.
but I want to make sure I have a few more in the bank before I start putting them out. And they're all on the topic again,
Yeah.
relationships, spirituality, meditation,
Hmm.
personal growth, spiritual development. So
That's
they're,
wonderful.
they're coming out. So get
They're
on the
coming
email
out.
list,
Yeah.
folks.
Well, no, absolutely. So, best of luck with all of that. Enjoy the
Thank
weekend. And if
you.
you want, stop by because you drive right by my
I
house to go
know,
to the
I
lake.
know, I know. We're normally on a mission. We're like, I just got to get to the lake.
Yeah.
I need to lie on that lake, either
Yeah.
on the floaty or on the ice. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're normally on a mission, and I have one of my Dans or both of my Dans in tow. So, but
Yeah.
one of these days I will come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just me
Yeah.
and
So,
you.
and just to warn you, because I don't know what your temperatures in town are like, but I look at the forecast, it's not that bad. It was -20 here this morning.
Yeah, I walk every morning,
Yeah.
so I do have my morning routine. I'm getting up at 5:30 these days. I do the big projects. I do my morning walk, I do my morning meditation, and today I think it was -21 with the wind chill.
Yeah.
But I know it could get colder out there because
Yeah.
it's like blowing in off the fields, right?
Yeah. Well, it was -20 without the wind. So it was like,
Oh,
are you bloody
no,
kidding me?
no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just be prepared. I don't know what the temperature says, but it's been cold, which is fine, right? It's still winter as much as we'd like it not to be. But
Well,
yeah,
hey,
so
it's only February.
I
Like, come on. We
know.
live in the north. I'm
With no
used to,
snow and lots of sun, like what's up with
like, don't we normally get
that?
snow all the way through March as well? Like, it's
Yeah,
6 months of winter. Like, you don't move to the north and not
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 have
accept
snow.
winter. Like, that's just a recipe for suffering. Like,
Oh
when
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
winter, we
Absolutely. Yeah.
accept and
So
embrace it.
yeah, absolutely. So anyway, have a great weekend and enjoy the sunshine. And thanks everybody for joining us and for being a part of this today. And if you're a holistic practitioner of some sort or a healing person in our location, and even if you're not living in Prince George and you want to be part of one of these conversations, just shoot me an email and let me know, or send a message to one of my posts. So love you, my dear. Have a lovely day.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste. Namaste means the light in me sees the
Sees
light
the
in
light in
you.
you.
And
That's
I'm
right.
going to say, create an awesome day. It doesn't just happen. You must create it.
Create it. Absolutely. Thank
Namaste.
you. Thank you, Tammy. Okay, have a great one. Now I got to stop this thing.